Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another insightful panel discussion on the topic, Creating Digital Spaces Equipped for Adaptable Transformation. While the digital transformation of workplaces was already on the agenda for many companies, the sudden nature of the pandemic forced most companies to adopt a culture of digital transformation immediately. Navigating the digital tools, skills, and literacy required to make this transformation seamless and sustainable, and this will entail a digital paradigm shift. From cloud software solutions, automation, artificial intelligence, to conquering overall digital implementation of skills for employees, employers, contractors, and gig workers, all processes must be taken further. In this panel discussion, we will discuss why, with rapid technological advancements, there is a need to stay updated and use digital resources and tools for ultimate business progress. And it is my pleasure to invite our esteemed panelists for this session. First up, we have with us Andreas Binnmyr, Director, People Advisory Services, EY Nordics, United Arab Emirates. Andreas is a technology and transformation leader with vast international experience accumulated from the Middle East, EMEA, Americas, and APAC. He's passionate about improving HR and other enterprise functions through technology, digitization, and increased collaboration. His expertise spans across the full spectrum of a transformation, from business case and deployment of new technologies and ways of working, all the way to steady state and benefits realization. Joining us next, we have Marita, Digital Transformation Practice Lead and Managing Director at Accenture Digital, Singapore. Marita is an energetic and team-oriented managing director, passionate about innovation at scale, with a significant history of generating value for both Accenture and clients at complex and difficult engagements across industries and regions by bringing together the right people and shaping sustainable solutions. Joining us today, we also have Agustina Samara, Chief of People and Corporate Strategy at Dana, Indonesia. Agustina is currently appointed as the Chief People and Corporate Strategy Officer in Dana to establish HR in all spectrums as a strategic partner to build the organization and become an employer of choice. We also have Prakash Rao, Chief Operating Officer SaaS, PeopleStrong India, an expert in the field of HR tech and digital transformation. Prakash has led the digital HR transformation for various leading enterprises of Asia. With a rich experience of over 16 years, he drives a team of HR and HR tech professionals across countries to deliver a superlative customer experience and meet PeopleStrong's commitment of writing the new code of work with its customers. Prior to joining PeopleStrong, Prakash has worked with Emphasis, where he managed staffing for the BPO division. He frequently speaks at various national and international forums on wider HR and HR tech subjects, including AI and HR, recruitment, HR analytics, and HR technology. And last but not the least, this session will be moderated by Ramon Segismundo, founder and CEO at OneHR.X Singapore. Dr. Ramon Segismundo is a business leader who has built his career around the core themes of transformation, innovation, and change. Currently, he is the founder and chief executive officer of OneHR.X Pte. Limited, a Singapore-based advisory, consulting, and executive coaching firm. A member of the Singapore Management University International Advisory Council, he teaches strategic and international management at the De La Salle College of Business. Ramon has broad and deep international HR experience, having previously held roles with international and Asia-Pacific HR global multinationals based in Singapore, USA, and the UK. He's a highly sought-after speaker in various fora, and he's also the president of the People Management Association of the Philippines 2017. Thank you so much for joining us to all our panelists today. I'm sure our audience will learn a lot from the insights you would share. And now, without any further delay, let me invite Ramon to take over and start this engaging discussion. Over to you, Ramon.
Well, thank you, Yasmin. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to be here with my fellow esteemed panelists, and I'm your moderator. As we bounce back from this unprecedented health and economic crises, right, and enter the next normal, we are accelerating digital transformation, not only in our companies, but as well as our society and as well as our countries. And in the course of this digital acceleration, we have to develop digital capabilities, which includes creating those digital spaces that are really equipped for this once-in-a-lifetime digital transformation. So what we have done is we have curated a total of 5 questions that will really provide us with insights on this very important shift that's happening right now with respect to our organizations and with our workplaces. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to engage my honored panelists in this 5 questions. And I'll start off with the first question, which is, and I'm going to direct this to Andreas. The first question is, how can workplaces sustain the same digital strategies when technology keeps on upgrading every time? Andreas.
Thank you, Ramon, and thank you for the question. Well, listen, I think there's a couple of things at play here at the same time, and you've already alluded to the fact that the pace of digital transformation, the pace of new technologies and new innovations is unprecedented. And I really think that the only pragmatic way organizations can deal with this and workplaces can deal with this is by continuing to invest in their people. And I think there needs to be a great deal of preparation, a great deal of investment, and a great deal of sort of capability enablement around change management and around having a workforce that is continuously curious, adaptable, and can absorb all these changes on a continuous basis. I genuinely and truly think it's also one of the most difficult parts for any organization to deal with. And I think personally and from experience, the organizations that can crack this, the right level of investment with the right level of future focus, with the right level of change management, have a great advantage over the others that are lagging behind. So I think that would be my take on your question and on the observation from your side, Ramon.
Thank you, Andreas. That's very insightful. That we've really got to invest in people, particularly digital literacy, digital capabilities, perhaps even digital IQ. And you mentioned change management. Is there anyone else from the panel who'd like to add to what Andreas said?
So I just want to add on my context from Indonesia, because we are in the Asian environment, right? So digital is not an option anymore, need to be really it's a must, right? But the things is because the environment, the education is still low and everything, even like in the organization talking like a blue collar, the helper ones, in the low income one. Even like we already invest in that infrastructure of the tools and everything on the digital, we need to also think that people mindset of the digital mindset need to be ready as well. So it doesn't mean that only the tech one, but the people mindset need to be there. So we need to have a readiness in terms of the whole ecosystem to make sure that the organization sustain in the futures, because we cannot just invest in terms of the tools, but also how to educate the people to understand about the digital itself. Because even like in the higher education, they already tend to working with the old conventional way, right? And then when we go into the work from home, and then we ask them to use different tools or different digital things, and then they start to complain, or they start to affect their productivity levels. That's from me. Back to you, Rem.
Tina. So mindset, right? We've got to embrace digital. Thank you, Tina. Prakash.
So Ramon, I would like to bring a different perspective to this. This is like the digital transformation these days, the way it's moving. It's like having a phone. Every year a new phone gets launched, and in a couple of years the new phone start looking like a dinosaur, right? So how do you keep your technology upgraded in a manner? How much are you going to invest year on year is a big question. That's where I feel organizations need to look at the right technology partner. If you know that you have signed up with a technology partner who themselves are investing in being future ready, then I think that will help you to automatically move to newer technologies. You don't have to invest, just sign up with the right partner who might invest and get that done for you. That's one element I definitely feel organizations will need to start to look at.
Yes, the right tech partner is key, right? So thank you for your guidance, Prakash. So I think we've answered the question, right? So I've taken notes, and perhaps at the end, we could just wrap up everything. But let me move on to the next question. If remote working is here to stay, how will boundaryless transformations and adaptations be navigated by companies, right? They say it's out of sight, out of mind, right? And also, how do you coordinate, your workforce that's all in many places, all at the same time, different time zones? So how do you navigate that situation in the middle of a transformation? Prakash.
Okay, thanks, Ramon. I think, one thing is for sure that remote work has become permanent, right? So the percentage of workers working permanently from home is expected to double in 2021, right? And number two, we're also hearing now that it might be necessary for large enterprises to have a new job position like a director of remote work who's able to oversee production and collaboration and ensure operational efficiencies. That's the new world that we're getting into, because what's happening is remote work requires more engagement. Communication and over communication has become the norm, because when employees were in offices, communicating with them, the word of mouth was that much more easier. So do you have the right communication tools to be able to communicate to your employees at an appropriate manner, in the right manner? And this is, I'm not talking about doing webinars for a couple of hours or webinars for, or doing long sessions. These days, employees, you get engaged, you accept content in small bite size. It's a TikTok generation, right? If your content is more than 2 minutes, then a user loses, he doesn't look at it. So how can you engage with people in a new manner? How do you communicate with them? That's one point. Second is remote work affects performance management big time. So how do you bring in productivity tools which not only can measure the outcome, but the interim tasks as well? So what are the tasks that I have to achieve on a daily basis? How are those tasks then getting linked to the overall outcome and the business objectives? So these are two key elements I feel is really going to become essential to ensure that the organizations are adapting to the new way of work. One is communication and engagement. Second is, how do you bring in productivity tools and performance management tools?
Thank you, Prakash. I'll call on Tina, and then afterwards, Marita, just to add to what Prakash said. Tina?
Yeah, okay. So I agree that maybe when we talk about the things that we already changed, right, from the work from office into the work from home, and then now we believe that work from anywhere, because you can just work to any place just to deliver the results. So the HR need to adopt with this kind of things. They need to change everything to accommodate this kind of things. Otherwise, that will be really difficult for the organization to sustain as well. Because we believe in terms of work-life integration right now. You cannot control the person when they work at home, right? 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 or something. Because now integrations meaning that when they work at home, how they also going on to cooking, taking care for the family and everything. It's a really boundaryless, and then integrate one another from the professional and personal situations in one roof, right? So meaning that we need to really understand how to optimize the hybrid working style like this. That's the challenge right now.
Yes, I love it, right? Work-life integration, right? And how do you really manage in a hybrid manner, right? Working from anywhere. I think those are the key words that Tina mentioned. Now I'll call on Marita.
Yes, so I would like also to stress that I don't believe there is one solution that fits for all. So that's why the strategy needs to be tailored very much for its organization. So having the right surveys to understand the jobs, the tasks, the processes, what are the preferences, because we have experienced the work from home all of this almost 2 years now. And each of us carries a very different experience. What does it mean? Some people had their own personal space. Some people, they were sharing their personal space while working. So what does it mean? What is my experience from home versus what is my new experience, and my expectations from the workplace are very different. That's why I really believe that we should, the organizations should see it as an engagement, collaboration project, working with their employees, with its different teams to understand how they're working, their workflows, what they want to achieve, and what does it mean, a hybrid work for each team. This is what my view.
Thank you, Marita. That's really interesting, right? Because obviously you can't have a standard one size, right, fits all strategy. You have to look at your industry, you have to look at your nature of work, and of course, it's the day and age of personalizing everything, right? One may be too happy with work from home, another one might be really missing the office, right? So you'll never know. Insightful point, Marita. Thank you very much for that. So let me move on to the third of 5 questions. Now let's talk about artificial intelligence, right? How can AI engineered human resource management tools be incorporated to make this new way of working really work and even make it efficient? Okay, so I'd like to call on Tina first.
Yeah, as I mentioned that the behavior of the employee and all the society is also changing, right? So we can work from anywhere. And then the challenge right now from HR and all the business leaders is how to track that they are working in a productive way. So we need a tools to incorporate and make the organization sustain. Like there is a 3 things that I think I can share here, like how we go with the automations, because we need to change from the manual process into the digital one. Like if you want to sign something, you cannot just sign in a paper anymore. You need to make it digitalized, right? To sign into the e-signature and everything. So the challenge is how to switch from the manual process into the automations. And then the data driven needed here, because the data analytic for the employee need to be there, because everyone working in anywhere. So you need to track whether they're working, so how many hours they deliver, how much the KPI and sales and everything. So everything need to be into one single tools that can be tracked and can be articulate into the business improvement or business result as well. And then to accommodate that kind of the tools, as an HR or the organization's leader need to do the re-engineering part. What I mean about the re-engineering is how we change our policies, the process that you allow the employee to submit digital one, or we allow everything on that process to go into the virtual one instead of the working from office or face-to-face. Like you can approve or anything doing the only chat or something, then we need to do the re-engineering for all the workflow things. And why we need tools and AI, I think I'm from the HR side, see that everything in the day-to-day business, we have 3 things. It's talking about HR operations that maybe takes 40% of our time, like how you manage your leave, your sick leave and everything. So the administration one need to be there, but we want to have that kind of tools, right? So everyone can do the self services on that part. And then the other challenge of the time consumed is about the talent acquisition, how we go and approach the candidate hiring and make sure that they have an engagement with the team day one with the laptop and access metrics and everything. So that will be another challenge, that we need tools to make sure that we engage start from the before they become our employee up to the day one onboarding things. And the third one that really important after they come to the organization, how we make them happy, right? So we need the data and the tools to make sure that they engage with us. Like we need to accommodate the customization in terms of the learning. We need to track and monitoring their happiness index. Maybe they can just put every day whether they're angry, amber, red, or green. Maybe we need to track that one too. Because now dealing with the young people, millennial and zillennial, they really need some kind of happiness, right? The impact for their job satisfaction and everything. So how we can have that kind of things? We need tools. Of course, and then the tools itself need to be integrated into that process and the policies as well. That's from me, Raymond.
That's really spoken like a true business and HR advisor, right? So you talk about tools, right? Digital tools, digital toolkit, right? So even, transitioning, right, from Excel spreadsheets, right, to automatic AI and even machine learning enabled tools is quite a leap, which is what you've mentioned, right? And then having a unified integrated database, which is the second point. And then the third point, that obviously before you automate, you need to re-engineer policies and processes. So thank you, Tina. Is there anyone else who would like to add to that? Andreas, you're raising your hand. Andreas.
Yeah, listen, I think it's such an interesting topic and one that really comes back to maybe the first question we had around the kind of speed of digital developments and whatnot. And I think that we will very rapidly and we will very soon see an immersion of advanced machine learning or AI, even in the more sort of value-added kind of HR processes around learning or around recruitment or around sourcing or around job matching, etc. And in fact, I know a lot of global organizations are already looking at and are already doing and have already deployed AI to speed up their recruitment process. They are using they call it artificial intelligence, to do better matching between competencies and training or skills development, right? So that it's all kind of supported and enabled by advanced machine learning. So I think the operational side of HR are bread and butter processes. Of course, they will be immersed with RPA and automation and digital tools. But I think the next layer is already here, which is when it really starts to infringe on and support the more advanced HR processes in learning, in talent acquisition, in reward, etc. And that is going to come very fast. That will come very fast and become a global standard, in my view, in the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Andreas. So the next person that may be trying to hire you over the phone may not be a human being, right, Andreas? Could be a robot, right? Yeah. Or it could be an avatar, perhaps, right? Yeah. Okay, great.
Could very well be.
So it's an exciting world, right? And let me now move on to the next question, which is really interesting. So how will the digital hiring and firing impact the way employees are assessed? Prakash?
Sure, Ramon, let me take that. So I think, one thing is for sure, whether we know it or not, algorithms are already in charge of hiring and firing, right? We might not already know this, but they are guiding HR teams in terms of who to hire and who to fire. Let's talk about the recruitment process first. I think like Andreas rightly said, talent acquisition is one area where AI and algorithms and machine learning has been used over the last 5 to 6 years majorly. The matchmaking, the way you call it, which takes care of the resume screening and ensuring that the candidate has the basic capabilities that you would need for the job. That's where it started off. Then what's it gotten into today is, if you have an online assessment, it could be a technical assessment, it could be a behavioral assessment, it could be a video assessment, like I just upload a video of myself. There are tools that could assess your body language and come back and tell in terms of whether this person's going to be, what kind of fit is this person from a cultural perspective. Even those tools are available today in the market. So a combination of assessments, a combination of matchmaking, if you have these two, and then over a period of 6 to 8 months, if organizations recruit people and they keep updating, why did I hire this person, why did I reject this person, you keep giving that feedback, the engine learns on its own and it'll start predicting and start giving a score to every single candidate who comes in. So imagine somebody's used an engine like this for 6 months, you get a new resume, the person goes through assessment, the system says, hey, this is 90% match to what you need. This is 75% match to what you need. What it is doing is, it might not be making the decision, but it'll shortlist and give you the right people that you need to meet. If you're meeting 5 people against one requisition today, tomorrow it might just be meeting 2 people and you get the best person amongst those 2, because that's how the engine is recommending them. So that's something that's already a reality. That is people are already using this today. The other end of this is the complete, employee movement, right? The employee leaving the organization. Here also, we're already seeing algorithms in place, because the way this is what it's doing is, one of the big places where managers really struggle is to let go of an employee, because what happens is, as human beings, we tend to connect with our employees. As L1 manager, I connect with all the people that I work with. When you have that human connect, it's really difficult to have the tough conversation and tell a person, hey, buddy, I'm sorry, I have to let you go. So that is where algorithms and AI, what it does is, if you connect that to your performance management, it starts pulling the records and it starts giving data to HR and saying, these are the people who are your bottom, bottom 10, first 10 percentile of people who are absolutely not doing good, no value add having them around as well. Either you ask them to leave or change their role. One amongst the two needs to be done. So some of those decisions might soon be taken away from the line manager and be driven by algorithm as well. I mean, not many of us like that idea, but that's where it's moving, because in the virtual world, in the digital world, when all of us are in front of our screens, it might even simulate an HR person. It's like a human person sitting in front of me and having that conversation. But we know deep fake AI, right? It could just be an AI in the background sitting there having those conversations and asking me to leave. That could be a reality. Don't know when, but I'm sure pretty soon.
Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah, the use of those technologies. Is there anyone else from the panel who'd like to add to that? How digital hiring and firing is evolving, and how does it impact the way we come up with employee actions?
I can only just add one point about the hope of having AI to eliminate bias, let me say. So the hope of having artificial intelligence, of having a more inclusion and diversity in our workforce. So this is where I think we can, let me say, focus in order to drive more trust of having algorithms to drive this kind of core operations for an organization. Of course, somebody will say that algorithms are made by people, but we hope by training, we will take out this bias and we will have a much more balanced gender, races, workforce in every organization. Only this point from my side.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great point, actually. These tools could effectively eliminate unconscious biases, right? That happens, in the way we do HR and in the way we render business decisions. Anyone else would like to add?
I think I just want to emphasize in terms of the performance management tools, meaning that if we work in the at home, right? So it's kind of like an individual performance, while we need to also checking in terms of how they work together as a team. That's why the performance management tools needed as well to also identify not only the hard KPI as a quantitative one, but how we also deal in terms of the team spirit and the culture fit. Because when we are talking about the culture fit, when maybe in the past life we have an office, right? So we can still deal with each other face to face, and then we still can sensing that one. While in the hybrid working style, we just go screen to screen, and then it's only limit when we talk through the Zoom meeting. While maybe in the past life, we can still talk during the break time, coffee time in the pantry and everything, right? So that will be a challenge. How we go with the performance management in terms of the hard KPI and also the soft one for the culture fit. That's the things that we need to take.
Yeah, thank you, Tina. And I think that has really provided the perfect nudge, right, for me to say that, okay, this digital tools are great, right, and they're high tech, and at the end we may have to complement it, right, with human touch, right. So you have all this data validated by AI and ML and all that, but at the end of the day we have to inject, right, that human touch. What Tina says, how do you really determine team spirit? How do you determine cultural fit, right? I think there are certain skills and capabilities that are probably still going to be reserved for human beings, but the technology would provide the perfect platform. And the last question is certainly going to be a useful one, right, for all our audience participants. And the question is, okay, how should companies design their digital strategy and roadmap? So effectively, we would like to provide, right, advice to our audience participants, having heard what we've all heard, right, with this esteemed panel of speakers, right, that we have to invest in digital capabilities. It's all about mindset, having the right tech partner, that digital assessments are here powered by AI and ML, that there are tools readily available that we could leverage to accelerate our digital transformation. And at the same time, we have to be cognizant of soft issues like work-life integration, having the organization, right, to make this new workplace succeed. So, honored panelists, right, what would be your advice, right, to companies on how they should design their digital roadmap moving forward? So I'd like to start with Marita, and then I'm going to call the rest after Marita.
Okay, great. Thank you for this. So I think my view and what I have seen also from our clients, strong focus on the well-being of the employees is super important. And this is beyond just the physical well-being and the physical safety. It's more around focus on building a culture and a holistic view of the well-being that includes the space, the physical space, the emotional, how we engage at work, the financial aspect, the social, the career, the community, and how we create purpose. So I believe that the strategy should enable flexibility in being able to help employees to work in where, from when, and how they want, and really prioritizing these pillars to create the right well-being environment. I see that it would be the importance for creating a sustainable business and attracting also the talent of the future.
You know, Marita, I fully support and agree, right? Look after well-being, have the flexibility and agility, right? And, you know, pay attention to the work environment. I think that's basically what you're saying. Who'd like to be next? Tina or Andreas?
Yeah, I can go first. So I think for me, talking about the digital road mapping, it's time for us now to pause and reset. I think there is 3 stages here, how as a business leader, we need to define our values and make a reassessment again to secure the senior management commitment, whether they want to go into the really digital leadership on this part and go with the same language and the same voice and the visions. And from there, we can make a set a clear ambitions target or clear mission and visions to go into the digital. Otherwise, that can be ruin to have the executions level in day by day. And of course, we need to think as well because the economy is also changes, right? So we need to secure our budget, investment, and everything. Where are we going and what kind of scalability that we want? So after the pause and the reassessment in terms of the leadership in the high levels, and then we go into the acceleration and the day-to-day basis while we need to invest in terms of the digital culture, how to buy some new investment, how to recruit more people and give them the training that really fit in with this kind of the digital mindset and the virtual leadership. And then the third scale is we need to fix on in terms of the scalability and the sustainability for the not a long term, but it's like a agile decision making and the milestone for the business target from the short term, like a 3 months or quarterly period into the 1 year period. Because if you have a plan like 10 years, but maybe you don't know what happened in the 2 years later, right? So that needs to be have a adaptability in terms of the agile decision making. That's from me.
Thank you, Tina. The need to have that digital pivot, right? Looking at the top side as well, and then investing in digital and making sure that you have a well laid out implementation plan that's scalable, that's sustainable. Thank you, Tina. Andreas?
Well, I think what I see from many organizations and in the world is often an over-reliance on buying tools and buying software and thinking that makes a digital journey in itself. And I really like what you said, Marita, before about looking at a digital journey through various lenses. Whether that's from a societal point of view, whether it's from an employee engagement point of view, or whether it's from a financial point of view. And I think the crux here is twofold. One is that the digital strategy needs to align with the overall business strategy. What is it that you're going to achieve? They have to sit together. And secondly, which is maybe a bit more of a sort of practical recommendation, is that any organization undertaking these journeys build proper business cases around what's the level of investment, what's the return on investment I want to achieve, what are the efficiencies I want to achieve, but also the kind of human aspect, the people aspect, and the engagement aspect. And I think those are the various dimensions that needs to come together, because without them, it's very easy to just fall flat and just buy another tool and think it's going to work. Right? And that is very, very rarely the case, as I'm sure most of you will know, but I think I still see it over and over and over and over again. So something goes wrong along the lines. So that would be my input on this.
Wow. Spoken like a true pragmatic business leader, right? To align your digital strategy with the business strategy and You've got to have a business case, right? That's great, Andreas. Thank you very much. Prakash.
Okay, so great points what Andreas, Marita, and what Tina said as well. I'll just add one element. I think this is one question I get asked a lot in a lot of forums is young HR folks asking me, is their job going to be relevant with all the digital transformation? And I keep telling them that as long as, because whatever you do, technologies can't bring in empathy. Because of empathy, HR will always be relevant, is something that I tell them. So from that perspective, for me, a digital strategy has three elements that people need to look at. One is the work. What work can get automated? This is what we're talking about, non-value added stuff. How can you automate? What tools can you bring in which can really work in your organization? Second is your workplace. The workplace now is not your offices anymore. It's your employees' living room. It's anywhere. It's a cafe. It's Starbucks. So how do you ensure that with a combination of collaboration, digital technologies, you're able to create workplaces wherever employees are and help them be productive? So how can a digital roadmap be created there? The final one, of course, is your employee, your workforce. I think Marita made a great point about employee well-being. The one thing I will add is one thing that's becoming important is not just the well-being of an employee, but the well-being of the employee's family as well. That's one new added dimension that we're seeing today, because you now need to care for your employee's family, not just for the employee themselves. So in these three areas, if you could build a digital roadmap of how to track these, how to enhance these, that I would say is a good start point.
Thank you. Thank you. So automating non-value adding work. That's the first point, Prakash. Creating digital workplaces that really optimizes collaboration, right? And teamwork. And then thirdly, looking at it holistically in terms of family well-being, right? So lots of great advice, right, that we've heard, right? Lots of great advice to companies, to business leaders, to HR leaders as well, and IT leaders, and any CXO for that matter, on how we could really create the digital spaces, right, equipped for adaptable transformation. And yesterday, the Singapore finance minister said that leading businesses and laggard businesses, the gap between them would be increasing over the next year, next 3 years, next 5 years, and next 10 years. And he said, basically, there's two things that have to be done that integrates everything that our panelists have said. Number one is to really raise productivity. And I can see that you can raise productivity through all the digital work tools. But second, he also said we have to restructure organizations, that we have to quickly shift from analog organizations to digital organizations. So those were the two things that he mentioned. Now let me add a third one that synthesizes everything that our panelists said. Don't forget the human touch, because you could raise productivity, you could restructure, but don't forget the human touch. So on that note, I would really, really like to thank all our panelists, Prakash, Andreas, Tina, and Marita, for really sharing with us their wisdom, their knowledge, and their understanding of the subject. To all the audience participants and on behalf of the panel, we wish you all the best as you embark on your digital journeys, as we bounce back from this once-in-a-lifetime existential crisis, and as we enter the next normal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ramon. Thank you to all our panelists. It was a very, very engaging discussion. I resonated with everything that was discussed so far. So thank you, Andreas, Prakash, Tina, Marita, Ramon, for facilitating the discussion so well. We all know the future of work is going to be digital for sure. There's no doubt about that. It is about investing in the right digital capabilities, having the right digital mindset, investing in the right tech partners, including AI, ML, and other new technologies. And at the same time, ensuring that this enables work-life integration, as all our speakers today shared. It is going to be about having the right balance between high tech and high touch. And as Ramon summed it up really well, it is about being human at the end of it all. So once again, a big, big thank you to all our panelists today. Thank you, Ramon. And it was a great discussion. Thank you so much. And that concludes today's session. Thank you so very much for joining us, everyone. Coming up next is the keynote session by Amir Igbal, who's head of digital transformation at Facebook Singapore. So stay tuned for that. Thank you.